Hello students, I am Mrs. Sane. Welcome to the Simple Way of Learning English. Students, this is the second part of the poem 2.3, The Inchcape Rock, written by the poet Robert Southey. In the first part, the whole poem was read. In this second part, we shall study the poem in detail. Let us first see the information about the poet Robert Southey. Robert Southey was born in England and was educated at Oxford University. He was the Poet Laureate of England for 30 years. Poet Laureate means an eminent poet appointed as a member of the British royal household. The Inchcape Rock is one of his popular poems. The poem The Inchcape Rock is a ballad. Ballad is a poem or song narrating a story in short stanzas. The Inchcape Rock is the story of the Abbot of Aberbrothock. Abbot means the head of monastery, which is a building for housing the monks. There is the dangerous sandstone reef, 18 kilometers off the east coast of Angus, Scotland. Reef is a large line of rocks just below or above the sea. Abbot of Aberbrothock installed a warning bell on this Inchcape. There is the legendary story of a pirate who cut this bell and became the victim of his own evil deed. Robert Southey was inspired by this story and has written this ballad, The Inchcape Rock. Students, in this poem there are 17 stanzas and each stanza is of 4 lines. In every stanza, first line rhymes with the second line and the third line rhymes with the fourth line. And because of this rhyming scheme AABB used in this poem, the poem has got the musical quality. I think you must have enjoyed reading this poem yourself too in the first part. Okay, now students, let us see the stanza-wise summary in this part. See the first stanza. No stir in the air, no stir in the sea. The ship was as still as she could be. Her sails from heaven received no motion. Her keel was steady in the ocean. In this first stanza, the poet describes that on that day the wind was not blowing, and the sea also appeared to be calm. There was not much movement. Due to the absence of wind, the sails of the ship were also not getting any motion, and so the ship was standing motionless. The keel of the ship was also not moving. That means the ship was not going forward. It was not moving. It was steady. Second stanza. Without either sign or sound of their shock, the waves flowed over the Inchcape Rock. So little they rose, so little they fell. They did not move the Inchcape bell. There was not much movement. The waves of the ocean were flowing at a very slow pace, very slowly over the Inchcape Rock. They were flowing without much rise or fall, and so the waves could not move the Inchcape bell installed on the Inchcape Rock. Stanza number 3. The Abbot of Aberbrothock had placed that bell on the Inchcape Rock. On a buoy in the storm, it floated and swung, and over the waves its warning rung. The Abbot of Aberbrothock had installed this bell on the Inchcape Rock. It was placed on a buoy. A buoy means a floating object fastened to the bottom of the sea that shows the place where it is dangerous for boats to go. At the time of high tides or storms, at the time of very bad weather, with heavy rain and strong winds, this buoy would move and the bell used to ring, which gave the warning to the sailors that the dangerous Inchcape Rock was there. Stanza number 4. When the rock was hid by the surge's swell, the mariners heard the warning bell, and then they knew the perilous rock, and blessed the abbot of Aberbrothock. Here, the poet describes that the seamen or mariners could not see the Inchcape Rock, the dangerous reef, as it remained hidden under the water during the high tides or when there was a great rise in the level of the sea. But they could hear the ringing bell, and they could get the warning that the perilous means dangerous Inchcape Rock was there, and could go away from that dangerous place. Thus, for saving their lives, the sailors used to bless the abbot of Aberbrothock, who had done that good job of installing that bell on the Inchcape Rock. Stanza number 5. The sun in heaven was shining gay. All things were joyful on that day. The sea birds screamed as they wheeled round, and there was joyance in their sound. Now, the poet describes in this stanza the happy atmosphere on that particular day. On that day, even the sun in the heaven, means sun in the sky, was shining brightly. All things were very happy. The sea birds were flying round and round, and they were screaming. There was also joy, happiness in their sound too. Stanza number 6. The boy of the Inchcape bell was seen. The darker spake on the ocean green. Sir Ralph the rover walked his deck, and he fixed his eye on the darker spake. On that day, the buoy of the Inchcape bell was clearly visible. It was looking like a black spot on the green ocean. Sir Ralph the rover, who was a sea pirate, went the deck of his vessel and looked steadily at that black spot. Stanza number 7. He felt the cheering power of spring. It made him whistle, it made him sing. His heart was mirthful to excess, but the rover's mirth was wickedness. Sir Ralph the rover felt the happy atmosphere of the spring, which made him whistle and sing happily. Sir Ralph was overjoyed, but he was a wicked person, so his joy also came from his wickedness. His joy was due to the evil thoughts in his mind. Stanza number 8. His eye was on the Inchcape float. Quoth he, my men, put out the boat and row me to the Inchcape Rock, and I will plague the abbot of Aberbrothock. Sir Ralph the rover's eye was fixed on the Inchcape Rock. With the evil desire in his mind, he told his men to sail him to the Inchcape Rock, as he wanted to plague the abbot of Aberbrothock by destroying his good work. This Sir Ralph was jealous about this abbot of Aberbrothock, because all the mariners used to bless him for his good work of installing the bell on that dangerous reef. Stanza number 9. The boat is lowered, the boatmen row, and to the Inchcape Rock they go. Sir Ralph bent over from the boat, and he cut the bell from the Inchcape float. A small boat was taken away from the vessel, and his men sailed Sir Ralph to the Inchcape Rock. Then what did Sir Ralph do? Oh, he bent over from the boat and he cut the bell from the buoy. Stanza number 10. Down sunk the bell with a gurgling sound. The bubbles rose and burst around. Quoth Sir Ralph, the next who comes to the rock won't blaze the abbot of Aberbrothok. The bell sunk in the ocean with a gurgling sound, causing bubbles which burst on the surface of water. Sir Ralph became very happy and said that henceforth nobody would blaze the abbot of Aberbrothok. Stanza number 11. Sir Ralph the rover sailed away. He scored the seas for many a day, and now grown rich with plundered store, he steers his course for Scotland's shore. Sir Ralph sailed away from that Inchcape rock. For many days he looked for the ships on the ocean. He robbed many ships and became rich with that big amount of looted wealth. And then he started his return journey to Scotland. Stanza number 12. So thick a haze overspreads the sky, they cannot see the sun on high. The wind hath blown a gale all day, at evening it hath died away. Now, there is the supernatural element in this poem. When Sir Ralph the rover started his journey back to Scotland, the atmosphere changed. There was haze, thick fog spread all over. The ship was completely covered in the fog. They could not see the sun. The atmosphere became dark. Strong wind was blowing all the day. But when it was the evening time, the wind stopped blowing. Died away means stopped. Hath is the archaic word used here. Archaic word means the word that was used in Old English. The meaning of hath is has. Stanza number 13. On the deck the rover takes his stand. So dark it is they see no land. Quoth Sir Ralph, it will be lighter soon, for there is the dawn of the rising moon. Sir Ralph was standing on the deck of his vessel. It was so dark that he could not see any land around. He assured his men that soon the moon would rise and there would be some light. Stanza number 14. Canst hear, said one, the breakers roar? For methinks we should be near the shore. Now where we are I cannot tell, but I wish I could hear the Inchcape bell. One of Sir Ralph's men said that he could hear the roaring sound of the waves. That means the seashore was near. The waves were breaking against something. He could not tell their location exactly, but he wished to hear the sound of the Inchcape bell to guide them. Stanza number 15. They hear no sound, the swell is strong. Though the wind hath fallen, they drift along, till the vessel strikes with a shivering shock. O Christ, it is the Inchcape rock. There was no sound. The waves of the ocean were rising high. Though there was no wind, their vessel was moving. They lost the direction. They had no sense of direction. And suddenly their vessel shuddered and struck against something violently. Oh God, it was the Inchcape rock. The vessel had hit against the terrible Inchcape rocks. Stanza number 16. Sir Ralph the rover tore his hair. He cursed himself in his despair. The waves rush in every side. The ship is sinking beneath the tide. Sir Ralph the rower himself had cut the Inchcape bell. So, in that dark atmosphere and at the time of high tide, he could not hear the warning bell, the sound of the Inchcape bell, and his vessel struck on the dangerous Inchcape rock. He cursed himself for cutting that bell. He lost all his hopes. In despair, he pulled his hair. But now it was of no use. The waves rushed inside the ship from every side, and it started sinking in the ocean. Now see the last stanza. But even in his dying fear, one dreadful sound could the rower hear, a sound as if with the Inchcape bell, the devil below was ringing his knell. Sir Ralph was dying, but in the last moments of his life, he heard the sound as if the Inchcape bell was ringing. He thought, he imagined, that it was his death knell, that the devil himself was ringing beneath the water of the ocean.